Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshablon, and welcome back to our series on humans. Now, today we are going to be covering ears. Now, ears are not the hardest things to do. They have a couple little tricks to them, but in general, they're not the worst. So, just starting off with how to draw the ear, there are a couple of just parts that we want to quickly cover. There are a couple of specific shapes inside an ear, and if you can understand these shapes, it'll make ears just a whole lot easier for you. So first of all, there's going to kind of be the arcs. That's what I like to call them. And so the arcs, there's kind of a big one at the top. Let's change back to our sketching pencil. It's kind of a bigger arc at the top and a smaller arc at the bottom. So like if you feel around where your earlobe is down here at the bottom, it is going to be a lot smaller compared to kind of the top curvature of the ear, which is around here. So that's just one important thing that you need to always be remembering. When it's coming down, some people think that it kind of comes in like this and then comes out again. It doesn't do that. Really what it does is it draws mostly a straight line down. It's not going to be perfectly straight though, it'll still be slightly curved outwards. You could have an ear that's shaped like this. You can have an ear that maybe is a bit more kind of curved on the top or whatever. Yeah, there are lots of different shapes of ears that we can get. So that's kind of what I call the arc of the ear. Now, moving on, we are going to be covering kind of the next formation of the ear, and it's called, or I like to call it kind of the Y of the ear. So the ear, it kind of has this Y kind of shaped thing. It may be kind of a backwards Y from this angle that we're viewing it at, but yeah, you'll kind of notice that there's always this kind of Y formation. That's not where all the darkness is going to be. It's actually going to be in between there, because the Y that I've kind of drawn is actually what's going to kind of be standing out compared to the rest of the image. So yeah, there's your Y. And then a part that I kind of just call kind of the bulb that comes in. Kind of comes down here, protrudes a little bit into here, and yeah. So there we go, there's kind of our bulb. And that is basically how you draw an ear. Now, you can kind of see it already. Very, very basic. And yeah, so that's just going to be kind of our basic blueprint of how we're going to be drawing an ear. So over here, we're actually going to kind of draw out a better, more refined version. So, got to kind of, that's a bit too steep of an angle. I'm going to kind of start to draw our ear. There we go. We kind of have the big arc in it. And we'll kind of come down kind of to this kind of our earlobe down here. There we go. There's kind of the outline of our ear. Now we're going to keep the outline fairly dark right now. It won't actually be like this in real life. You're going to have to use various midtones and whatnot to make it stand out from the rest of the head. I'm just doing that right now because we don't actually have the rest of the head. So there we go, that's kind of our ear shape. It's a little bit better than the other one. Now we're going to go ahead and kind of draw our Y. Well, actually we're going to draw a little bit of the outer rim of the ear because it's not just paper thin. So we're going to kind of have our rim here. And it comes over and then kind of fades right around here. It's rather profound around here and rather dark inside. So there we go, we have that. Now, our Y, we're going to have a little bit of light shading kind of around it. Just make a bigger brush so that we can cover this a little faster. So there we go, there's kind of the beginning of our Y. Here's going to be kind of the middle of the Y. And then this last part of the Y that kind of comes down. Now the Y curves down kind of normally, which is rather easy to draw. But, that's where this, this kind of rim of the ear, as you can see, it's going around like this. And that is going to eventually turn into the bottom of the Y. So just kind of showing that, we're going to kind of have it like this, going around. And then it's going to kind of have a little jump kind of around here. and it'll jump kind of all the way around. It's just a kind of a little funky thing at the end of a Y, but it is actually how it's going to be shaped inside of our ear. So there we go. Now, on this part of the Y right here, just this top part, I'm just going to do a little bit of light shading, but then it is going to get a little bit darker once we get the bulb in. So the bulb, you kind of want it to kind of make its little divot part into the ear, but kind of just in the middle of where this kind of Y curve is. So I'm just going to quickly draw that. Get a smaller brush for that. It kind of comes down. Or no, that's too late coming down. We'll have it kind of coming down here. It'll kind of poke in and then kind of come back out. There we go. Looks pretty good. Yeah. And now this part will come down, and it'll kind of curve along with the bottom of the Y. So there we go. That's going along pretty well. Now, there is going to be a part where it kind of drops off inside of the ear, and it becomes a lot darker. So kind of up here, it's kind of just light. Let's get a bigger brush again. It's kind of light up here, not too heavy of shading, but kind of once you get this curvature in the bulb, and I'm kind of meaning this kind of line right here, everything below that is going to be rather dark. So let's just quickly do that. There we go. We get our nice dark kind of inner part of the ear where it heads down towards the eardrum. There we go. It's quite a bit darker there now. Okay, so now we're just going to create just a few more darker tones where it's already shaded. We're going to blur it a little bit, and then that'll basically be it for drawing an ear. Yeah, so as I said, ears aren't super hard to draw. Like around here where the kind of this rim of the ear is, you might want to add just a little bit of shading on that Y. You might want to make it a little bit like smoother coming onto the Y and everything, because it is still a curve. So you will want those midtones on top of it. There we go. That's pretty nice. We'll add just a little bit of shading on the bottom of the ear just because it's kind of the bottom. A little bit of shading out there, a little bit of shading on this bulb right here. And there we go. That's kind of our ear that we've done. We'll go through and just blur a little bit of it, just to smooth a little bit of that shading. All right. I'm good, man. That's looking quite nice. Just a tiny little bit of shading over this Y just to make it look a little bit smoother as it's going. Yeah, and there are lots of different sizes of ears and lots of different variations in which you can draw these kind of things, but this is just kind of the general kind of how to draw all of it. All ears, they're going to have that little Y inside of them. They're going to have kind of the bulb that's coming in. They're going to have all of this general stuff. And so yeah, just going to outline this bulb just a tiny bit. Have the drop-off be a little bit more sudden. Maybe just a tiny little bit of shading kind of in here where, yeah, that's pretty good. Awesome. Okay, just going to blur a tiny little bit more in here. And yeah, you can just go on as long as you want and just keep shading everywhere, because generally the more you shade, kind of the better and more finely polished your piece will seem. But yeah, I don't want to get too carried away with what I'm doing, I suppose. And yeah, so in general, that is very basically just kind of how to draw yourself an ear. They are going to look very different depending on what angle you draw them from, and so yeah, just keep that in mind. Just a tiny bit more shading here, I suppose. So yeah, that is how you draw an ear. So just quick recap, we're going to have kind of the arc that very big on the top, small on the bottom, we're going to have kind of this bulb here, and then of course the Y. And so yeah, that is how you draw yourself an ear. So if you have any more questions about it, just please put it in the comments below. And yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.